Hey, and welcome to a brand new episode of the Straight Up Show podcast. I am your host, Calvin, by myself today, but it's a particular reason why this subject is very dear to me. As most of y'all know, I've had some issues with my health the past couple of years, one that almost ended my life. So I couldn't help but to have this episode, just because people talk about how 2020 is a bad year, and I'm like, I'm living my life, and so I couldn't help but to talk about this subject. And just my guest today, a very good dear friend of mine. I don't want to waste any time at all, so if y'all can help me welcome Mr. Charles Doo-Wop Dittler. How you doing today, sir?
Doing good, man. I'm just blessed to be on this side of the ground.
Yes, sir. And like I said, man, we was talking before the show, and like people talking about 2020, man. But hey, we both can can testify that hey, you only get one life to live, and just live it to your fullest, right?
Yeah, man. As far as I'm concerned, 18 was definitely the worst year of my life. And how ironic that all this other stuff is going on. We're more than halfway through 2020, and it's actually, I can honestly say, it's been the best year of mine. So. Obviously my heart goes out to those affected during this pandemic and things such as that. But one thing I know for sure, man, we're going to get through it.
Yes, sir. And like I said, man, I mean, when people are resilient, you are definitely one of the most resilient people that I know. So that's why I had to have you on the show. And like I said, we're not going to waste no time. We're going to get right into it because, Doo-Wop, the first time I met you, it was at my boy Izzy's house. Shout out to Izzy. And the first time I met Charles, man, you were playing basketball. You were playing basketball, and you was trash talking everybody on the court.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah. And so, man, he is definitely – and you're from Shreveport, Louisiana, right?
Yeah. I was born in Shreveport, and then I got put in foster care at 9 years old. So from 9 years old till about my senior year, I actually grew up in Houghton. So I went to the same high school Dak Prescott went to. Shout out to them Cowboys. So then I ended up coming back to Shreveport and graduating from Huntington High School my senior year. But I claim Shreveport for the most part.
And like I said, I'm Houghton boys, man. Y'all some country boys.
Yeah, man. To me, it ain't like the country, man. Just growing up out there, and right now it's crazy because over the years, they're starting to move a lot of neighborhoods. So it's like every time I go down there, it's like, man, another neighborhood. It's like, man, if for long the country gonna be looking like the city. But yeah, man, it's not like the country. Growing up, fishing, playing sports out in the open fields, man, it ain't nothing like it.
Yeah, man, and a lot of y'all don't know Doo-Wop like I know him. Like he is just a good spirit, and it's something that it's just something about Doo-Wop you can't put your eye on it. But if you're having a bad day, Doo-Wop will make you feel so much better, man. And like you're well known around the city. Your slogan is "WOP don't stop." Where'd you get that from? WOP don't stop.
Yep. Yeah. My buddy Michael Cook started calling me that, man, in my senior year in high school, and I just got to Huntington 04, 05, and they were trying to give me a nickname, and we was on the basketball court, and for some strange reason, he said, man, we're gonna call you Doo-Wop because your head is shaped like a wop and you do too much. And I was like, what? And the crazy part about it is he gave everybody nicknames, and it always stuck, but it was always crazy how he gave them to us. So the next day in practice, Coach Mac Jones blew the whistle. He said, Doo-Wop, what is you doing? And everybody was like, yes, that is it, Doo-Wop. And then Doo-Wop stuck. And over the course of years, me being a class clown, always joking, making people laugh, being the life of the party, came about WOP Don't Stop. And then how ironically, I get into this burn accident a couple of years ago. And after all these different surgeries and things like that I had to endure, how fitting is that nickname?
Yeah. And very fitting. And we're going to actually talk more about your accident coming up next on Side of the Break. Stay tuned. Straight Up Show Podcast.
What's up, everybody? Brandon here with Straight Up. We want you to be mindful of the importance of wearing a mask out in public. We know it's uncomfortable, but believe it or not, you are saving a life. This virus has hit our community hard, and scientists are still looking for a vaccine. So wash your hands, practice social distancing, and most importantly,
wear a damn mask.
Okay, so now we're back with Charles Doo-Wop Dittler. Mr. Wop Don't Stop, man. Like, how many more nicknames do you have?
As far as I know, that's it. I mean, man, growing up when I was a little boy, my name is Charles. Okay, so growing up, my aunt said I had a big mouth like the cartoon Charlie Brown. So Charlie Brown was actually my nickname growing up as a child. So whenever I hear that name, I'm like, okay, this has to be somebody that knew me when I was a boy. And then, like I said, Doo-Wop came about as a senior in high school, and then Wop Don't Stop kind of derived from that. But as far as I know, those are the only. Now, don't get me wrong, I've been called some other names, but those are the three that stick with me for sure.
Yeah, we don't want to talk about those other names.
Yeah,
talk about those other names. But one thing that stood out to me the most about you is, like I said, at the last break, you said Wop Don't Stop, and you mentioned that you had an accident, and January 2018, a tragedy happened, and you have a thing called pain to purpose. So before we even get into pain to purpose, tell us about the pain part that happened in January 2018.
Well, first of all, it's like I tell people, man, I'm 33 years old, and I've been dealing with stuff all my life. Growing up, it was moments where I was homeless. I was in foster care. I was staying in group homes. I was in shelters on the streets. My mom was, bad on drugs. My daddy left. So as far as I'm concerned, man, I've been surviving all my life dealing with pain. Now, obviously, January 30th, 2018 was probably, obviously by far my most traumatic experience with pain I've ever had to deal with to date. I got off work about 5 o'clock. I got home, and a couple of friends came over to the house, and they know me. They know I love starting a fire, bro. Listening to some old, country music, having a cold one after work. So I start the fire, and I had originally started it with hydraulic oil. It's real safe, So I had ran out. So I recently filled up a gas can with diesel, and I guess I wasn't thinking, man. I was just moving too fast. And I went to reach for the can after the fire died down, and I started to pour what I thought was gas. And even though diesel is dangerous too, but it's not near as combustible as gas. So as I started to pour, man, I hear that's like that snake sound. And anybody growing up dealing with, in the country burning wood or fire brushes, they know what that sound means. So when I heard that sound, man, it was a little too late, and I still had the gas can in my hand. So I tried to reach back and get it out of my hand, but I wasn't quick enough. So it blew up on me. It had about 2 gallons of gas in the can. So it blows up, knocks me off my feet onto the ground. I'm screaming at this point, yelling, y'all, please help me. I'm on fire. And they jump on top of me with jackets because it's still kind of cool outside. So the jackets aren't quite, they not quite helping as much. So thankfully, my ex-girlfriend's dad, Mr. Derry Wright, who I owe the world to, came out of nowhere with a fire extinguisher off his barbecue pit and jumped on top of me and ultimately put me out. So I felt myself getting on out of here, man. But thankfully, like I said, he had that fire extinguisher because, when you get burned like that, the first thing you die from is the smoke inhalation. So that's ultimately what happened. I'm not going to lie, man. My son came to my mind, Chance. And once they put me out, that's the first thing I said, man, y'all take care of my son, Chance, take care of him. So, but obviously besides dying almost, like I'm about to die, I'm thinking in my head, like, hey man, y'all put the damn fire, like, come on, y'all help me out, Yeah. So, but I could just feel I'm inhaling the smoke, man. So I'm just sitting there thinking, and it's crazy because 10 seconds, boy, that seemed like forever, man. That seemed like forever. So
it was 10 seconds? Just 10 seconds?
Yeah, it was roughly about 10 seconds. Yep.
Wow. I bet it felt like an eternity.
Yeah, it felt like an eternity for sure, man. That's a long time to be on fire, my boy.
Whew. Well, so by the grace of God, you survived.
Yes, sir.
So you're in the hospital January, February. I mean, just tell us how that was, just recovery.
Um, Recovery, it was rough. I did about 2 weeks in ICU, medically induced coma. I caught an infection called Mercer, and it's like you can catch, obviously with my skin and your wounds being open. Your liable would catch all kind of bacteria and stuff like that, and deadly bacteria. And I caught an infection called Mercer, man, which can kill you. And so I was thankful to kind of get over that. And then after I moved out of ICU, they put me in convalescent where I could have, more visitors and things like that. And I wasn't I wasn't in as much pain as I was before. So they started weaning me off the drugs and stuff like that, the fentanyl, the morphine. But I went through something called the hydro room every day for 2 to 3 months. Hydro room is where every day they have to unbandage you of the Curelex bandages, and they have to scrub you and wipe you down, obviously to clean the wounds and, to keep bacteria from setting in and things of that nature. So that's that's the worst thing I ever went through, man. And I just remember sitting there crying and screaming and yelling like, please stop, please. But it's one of those things that had to happen because they had to scrub the dead tissue off, and they have to get it to a point to where it's clean. So I went through that roughly, like I say, 2 to 3 months. And I just remember sitting there, man, like, like I tell people, like I said, I never asked God, why me? I said, why not me? So as hard as something that was to deal with, I really wasn't mad at nobody, man. I just knew that I had to be going through this for something greater, on the other side.
And you had to learn how to walk and talk all over again, right?
Well, I wouldn't say I wouldn't say I had to learn how to walk, but I was so weak to where I needed help as far as getting back to walk. Like I had to, before they let me out the hospital, the little, what do you call it? The little stroller thing that you put your hand on and it got the little wheels at the bottom. Yeah.
Oh yeah, the little walker. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I had to walk up and down the hallway with that. So I didn't have to learn how to walk, but I definitely I needed assistance in walking in order to get my strength back, to keep my body up.
Okay. And then you said they had I know one interview I saw, they said they had to take part of your thigh and put it on your body.
Yeah, they did a whole tissue flap. They took a whole chunk of tissue and arteries out of my thigh, and they replaced it to my neck because I was not as mobile after the burn as far as like being able to turn and tilt my head up, back, So they had to get a chunk of tissue out of my leg. As far as my chin, they had to get a piece of tissue and some arteries out of my arm. Because what they try to do is they try to find a piece of tissue that's remotely close to what was there in the beginning. So, and it's crazy how the body heals, man. My leg, I mean, you can see where I had the 50 staples in my leg, but you wouldn't ever tell it was a piece of chunk taken out of it. It's crazy how the body heals itself.
That's a lot to go through, man. Like I said, I thank God that you're here. And then you're doing all this while still being a dad. That's what I find amazing is that, of course, any dad could probably say that their child motivates them, man. But you are pushing, the love for your son. If you follow him on social media, you'll see the love of his son just doing this whole process of healing, man. I love that.
Yeah, man, I appreciate that, man. Yeah, whenever you got a child, man, it's like when you cross the threshold of your door after a long day of work, man, that child don't care if you done lost your job. It don't care how many people hate you. It don't care about how much money you done lost. All it knows is this is daddy, this is mama. I need to be loved and taken care of. So it's just no excuses at that point. So you just kind of look at that sweet little face, and it just kind of reminds you, like, okay, boom. Whenever I want to give up, I picture his face in my head. that's the main reason to keep going. If nothing else, that's the main reason to keep pushing forward. And whenever God calls me to be home one day, man, if nothing else, I want him to be able to say like, wow, like my daddy left a lasting impression that no matter, what hand life dealt you, it's no excuses, and you can always overcome, as long as you got faith and believe, So I'm just trying to leave a legacy, man.
That's facts, man. Because like I said, just, the love is definitely showing. Like, you went through all that and your son didn't look at you any different. Just, just the love that you gave your son, man, that, man, a lot of fathers really could take from you, man, because, you went through so much and here you are still fighting. I mean, like, are you still battling through anything right now? Are you still recovered or?
Battling through anything? Oh, trying to pay these bills. But other than that, we all trying to get through this pandemic, man, like a tooth and nail. But other than that, I may have a minor hand surgery to kind of open up my hand a little bit more here in the near future. But man, other than that, a year ago today, this month, I lost close to 50 pounds and started eating better. And now I don't eat healthy all the time. I just eat small portions. I don't eat to get full anymore. So I'm in better shape than I was before I got hurt. So
I mean, I remember just seeing one of your videos, man, like you just fresh out of a surgery, I think, and you already at the gym just trying to recover. I'm like, man, Who is this? like seriously, it was literally like, "Wop, please just stop, man. You got a surgery. How are you doing like hurdle jumps already? Like, calm down, man. Like, you're just pushing along, man." So, like, man, that pain, man, really turned into the purpose. And we're going to talk about that purpose coming up on the next side of the break.
Tired of the same old boring clothes? Want to support your favorite podcast but don't know how? Well, you're in luck. The Straight Up Show podcast store is finally here. In our Teespring shop, you can find all the merch that tells the world you're keeping it straight up. From t-shirts to masks to even leggings, our store has you covered. Just visit straightupshowpodcast.com and click that merchandise button. That's STR8 upshowpodcast.com.
All right, so we're back with Mr. Wop, Don't Stop, Charles Doo-Wop Dittler. Man, an impressive story, man. I can't thank you enough for being on the show. Like me and you both said, man, 2018 was a crazy year for both of us. It's actually life-threatening for both of us, myself included. Yep. And some of you who have heard the show know that I almost passed away. I actually dealt with smoke and inhaling myself. I lived in a house that had a fire damage to it, but the owner didn't gut the damage. He just painted over it. So I was breathing and inhaling all that damage, and I ended up having I almost passed away. I was in a coma as well. That was in April of 2018. Not knowing that, and like I said, me and Wop knew each other way before this, but not knowing that Doo-Wop was across town recovering himself. And I was wondering why I hadn't heard from him in a while. And all of a sudden, I messaged him and I asked, because we both were trach. And Doo-Wop, can you just explain to everybody what a trach is?
Well, yeah, the trach. Well, as far as when they put it in my neck, I got burned. My neck started swelling up. So, in order to give me, to get that oxygen in me to keep me from breathing, they had to insert a hole at the bottom of my neck. It's a small tube. I don't know. The tube is about, 3 to 4, 3 to 5 inches long. It's a tube.
Yeah, like 3 to 4 inches long. Yeah.
Yeah, that they stick down your neck, and they have a little cap on the end that they put on there. That way, just nothing kind of gets in or anything like that. Matter of fact, I couldn't even talk for a second. They had to put a special cap on there. It has something to do with the vocal cords or whatever, but it's amazing when they put that cap on the end of that trach, man. I was able to talk again. I was like, wow, but basically that trach is used to give you another form of inhaling that oxygen to keep you alive.
Right. And that's something that I messaged you about because I was so nervous, man. Like, man, I don't know if you remember me messaging you, but man, but like I said, y'all, Doo-Wop is in the middle of recovery himself. And I was recovering, and he took the time out to actually message me. And man, Doo-Wop, let me tell you, man, because we both don't have our traits anymore. We're both trait free. But man, Doo-Wop, just you messaging me really kept me motivated because I mean I always looked up to you, man, because like I said, you just outgoing and I don't think you have any enemies at all, but
That's what I know
you
of.
but you really helped me out, man, and I know it's just a trait and I was just having breathing problems. I had lung issues, but man, just the fact that you were over there, I didn't know how bad off you were. And but just being in the recovery room and in my hospital bed and you in your hospital bed and you telling me to keep pushing, like that gave me a sense of purpose. Until this day, man, I can't stress enough how much just you messaged me back and forth while I was in the hospital, man. Like I brag about you all the time. I just can't thank you enough, brother. I really appreciate that.
Oh yeah, man, it's all good. I appreciate it, man. That's
And
what we here for, man.
yes, sir. And like I said, dude, you gave me a sense of purpose. And so, you have a sense of purpose. You're recovering, you're eating better. You can play around, run around with your son now. Like, but you still haven't stopped at all. Like I said, WAP, don't stop.
No, man.
You're going around giving everybody a sense of purpose and being motivated. Like, so if you can, just go in detail about your whole Pain to Purpose initiative.
Well, yeah. Last summer, I was around the same fire barrel that I had almost died on, and I had lit it. Because I said it was my first time actually encountering it, because I had lit it kind of like from a mental standpoint, like, okay, yeah, this is the rematch. Like, you got me the first time, but I'm back. So I sat down outside, lit the fire barrel. I was drinking a bottle of water, listening to some old school music, and it hit me. Pain to Purpose. And although we've all heard Pain to Purpose, I didn't invent that, but I said as far as going forward with my motto and having a good slogan for a campaign, if you will, I said I want to name it Pain to Purpose. Now what I have to do is I have to get it on paper. I have to get a nice logo. So after several attempts with several people, I come across a young lady, and she said that she would be able to help me out with it. So I'm like, okay, this is somebody else. So I literally sent her a kind of sketch of like how I wanted it. And I explained to her. She sent me back the first one, second one. She sent me back that third one. I was driving. I pulled over on the side of the road. You know how, you ever been shopping and you look at something like, you don't have to look left or right. When you see it, you know that's it.
Yeah.
And so the pain had to be broken up in red to be symbolic of pain. The purpose had to be bold, white, to represent hope and purity and heaven. And the T and the O, it's just a T and the O. But in my eyes, I wanted to enlarge the T just a little bit because, man, out of all the ups and downs I've been in life, when I've made money, when I've had not a dollar in my pocket, and a sandwich to eat, man, God was always the center of all that. He was always the focus point. So that's where the actual style logo came from. And so 50 shirts was made in March of this year. And the next thing I know, more shirt orders are being added. I'm like, hold on, wait, what's going on? And then the next thing you know, 2 months later, I have a nonprofit. I'm getting messages. They're doing my story in the UK. And I'm like, man, that's crazy. Like, this might end up being something. And so now with my nonprofit organization, I'm simply trying to motivate and inspire people all across the world that no matter what you've been through, we all have a pain. And we've all, dealt with something, whether it be mental, physical, spiritual, whatever the case may be. And regardless of who you are, there's somebody out there right now listening. There's somebody that's been in your same situation, but they chose to get off their butt and do something about it. So we're going to go through the pain. Okay, that's fine. We went through it. Like I said, we cried. It was rough. But now what are we going to do as far as finding our purpose out of it? So that's where the gist of that's where how kind of everything started, for me. So
Right. And man, that's deep. That's real deep, man. Just pain to purpose, red to white. And
yep.
man, that's a godsend, man. And like I said, the story is going all the way to the UK. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
what was your thought when you saw your story going to the UK?
Man, well, it wasn't a surprise because a journalist with the Metro newspaper over there, which is a big journal over there, he actually got in touch with me first. And I'm like, at first I'm thinking like, y'all want to talk to me? Y'all want to do my story? Who am I? And so he got some pictures from me and things like that. And man, 3 days later, I woke up one morning, and I had a couple of inboxes from people over in the UK. Like, man, we saw your story, whatever. I'm like, man, this is really happening right now. There's somebody in the UK that know about me and know who I am. So it was definitely a humbling experience, to say the least. But yeah, man, it was just one of those confirmations, like God telling me, like, okay, it's about to begin, so you need to get ready. And in life, I think that's what has to happen a lot of times. Don't get me wrong. I mean, we want to live a good, positive life, but how boring would it be not to have to go through anything in life? Everything just peaches and cream, like that's too easy. So sometimes we have to get uncomfortable in order to finally realize what our true calling is and what we were actually put on this earth to do. So I went from making $100,000 a year in the oil field, nice house, money in the bank, nice truck, my family, to in the blink of an eye, everything was changed. God put me in an uncomfortable position, and it's the best thing that ever happened to me, because now I'm in a position to where I can help other people all across the world. So if I had to do it again, without a doubt, I wouldn't hesitate.
Man, like I said, man, you about to put me in tears, bro, man. Just like seriously, man, because I mean that's a life lesson that a lot of people don't like to hear, but it's reality. And like you said, man, you've been, I think somebody said that, on the ladder to your success, be careful because you can always fall down your ladder, and so just, I mean, if you're out there listening, like I said, you come from a foster home, you've been from city to city, you've been a father, you've been a burn victim, and and you still, like I said, just walk, don't stop, man. And so, y'all, he is a motivation, he is an inspiration. If you hear him, hey, like I said, I know him, so just I would definitely say, take this as a lesson. Whatever you're going through, hardships. I look at Doo-Wop, he was on his hospital bed giving me advice about, because I mean, honestly, I was at a point to where I wanted to give up. I was at that point to where I had everything going good my way, and then tragedy struck, and I wanted to give up. And then here is Doo-Wop on the side of the down the street, hey, in the hospital bed, hey, don't give up. It's just a trait. You get it out. It don't be forever. And so, and so, man, pain to purpose. So, thank you, Doo-Wop, for coming on our show today. But before we go, how can people actually get in touch with you or support your nonprofit, Pain to Purpose, or actually get a 4X T-shirt?
Yes. Well, on my social media, Facebook page is actually Pain and the number 2 and then Purpose on Facebook. On Instagram, we're everything lowercase, Pain, the word 2 _ Purpose. My email is pain, the number 2, purpose, the number 18 at gmail.com. And I'm also, when y'all go to these social media sites, I've already uploaded the link to shop paintopurpose.com that'll take you directly to the website so you can order merchandise.
Charles Doo-Wop Dittler. Mr. Wop, don't stop. Thank you,
yes, sir.
Keep on
Appreciate
pushing, man. Keep on inspiring, man. We love you, brother.
Oh, yeah. Love y'all too, man.
Hey, everybody. Lee here. And guess what? The reviews are in, and the Straight Up Show podcast is a hit. Don't believe me? Well, listen to what one of our guest panelists, Dr. Monique Thompson, has to say.
y'all listening to Straight Up and support this podcast, because I listened in before I came on the show. I liked what I heard. They're really focusing on keeping things real and being real with you, and I like that approach. So you guys support this podcast.
So if you want to listen, donate to the show, have a subject idea, or even want to be a guest, just contact us at straightupshow@gmail.com. That's straightupshow@gmail.com.
Wow. I mean, what an incredible story. Charles Dittler, I call him Doo-Wop Dittler. Man, thank you so much once again for coming on the Straight Up Show podcast and just telling your story. It's a story that that needs to be heard, especially now and then. And he's been able to share his story with others and give hopes to and purpose to those burn victims, not just burn victims, but others who need to hear his message, to hear his story of survival and to keep fighting. He's actually impressed so many people, not only in the UK, but he's called the eye of his hometown fellow classmate and fellow Halton Buccaneer, Dallas Cowboys, Dak Prescott. Him and his brother Tad were seen wearing the Pain of Purpose t-shirt. Make sure you go to Pain of Purpose that website to get your merchandise to help out Charles's Pain of Purpose nonprofit program to help people like him with the same similar story. Charles, like I said, is a special light. When I first met him, great guy, full of spirit, and I think that's kind of why I had to have him on the show, because, you know, battling with the same injury, you know, near death, and here he is laying in his bed, giving me hope. So that's something that, you know, you really don't get from most people, and that's kind of why I have this show. Charles talked about his pain and what defined his purpose in life. And one thing I don't really talk about much and is my grandmother. She passed away in 2016. This year, it'll be 4 years. And so a lot of that pain, losing anybody is hard in itself. But losing her caused so much pain. I didn't know how to grieve with it. I was trying to run away from home, like go away from my family and isolate myself, and because I was depressed. And, you know, I was doing things that were very out of character of me. This is very personal. And then the accident I had was in April, and I was in a coma for like a week. And I just thought that my life was over with. Here I was in trach, have a hole in my throat, and I didn't know if I was going to live or survive, live or die. And talking to Charles, people like Charles, I mean, I want to give a shout out to Juan Zuniga as well in Shreveport. But those two really kind of made me go figure out that there's more than life just to deal with the pain. And, you know, that's why I have this podcast. So I can tell my story and, you know, and have people like Charles go and say, hey, you may be going through something right now. You may feel like, you know, there's no hope, but there is. You have a bigger purpose in life. There's no need to give up. It's okay to cry. It's okay to just feel like you want to give up, but don't. You have a bigger purpose. We can wipe away the tears. You can lean on me. You can lean on Charles, but we're in your corner. You have a bigger purpose in life. And it may take time to find it, but don't give up the fight. You have to keep fighting to find your purpose in life. And that's all what we want to do. Make people happy. Make your purpose in life be known. And it's hard to deal with my grandma being lost. It's a battle that I'm dealing with. But I know that her purpose, the sacrifices she's made, was to make sure I had a better life. And I know she wouldn't want me being sorrowful that she's gone. So I have to figure out my purpose and move on without her. It's hard. I have my days. I'm pretty sure Charles has his days. But we have to keep fighting. So I'll use this platform, a Straight Up Show. I'll use this platform and have people like Charles on the show to give their story. So maybe we can influence you to find your purpose and never give up. Love you all. That's it for our show, guys. Season 2 is about to be a wrap up. I want to thank Charles once again for coming on the show. Hey, one more episode, and then that's the end of season 2. It's been a great ride. I've enjoyed this season, having stories like Charles on the show. We hope that you join the conversation with us. Make sure you follow us on all our social media platforms. Listen to us on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Thank you so much to those who bought a lot of our merchandise at straightupshowpodcast.com, because, I mean, you all bought a lot of I Just Straight Up Voted t-shirts and memorabilia. Thank you so much for that. That's it for our show today. We want to thank all those that's helped out. Make sure you visit our website at straightupshowpodcast.com. Look at all the material you want to donate to the show, be a guest. Go on there, straightupshowpodcast.com. That's STR, the number 8 up, showpodcast.com. Listen, until then, there's only one rule to our show is you have to be straight up.